So we're coming up to our third Sunday in a row of online worship. And so I'm wondering, how do we get our families to worship together live stream? Uh, the goal for those of us who've got kids is not just to get them to behave while we're watching worship, but to participate, to profit from it, to actually be worshipers of God. And the skills that we develop while our church is online really set a pattern for us and for our families for worshiping God when we get back together as a church. Jesse Johnson has some suggestions which I think are really helpful for learning as a family with our kids how to worship together while we're live streaming. First, talk through the service with your kids. Tell them what you think is going to happen. Talk about the songs and the scripture reading, the announcements and prayer and the sermon, so that when the service starts, they'll have an idea what to expect. Help them to be thinking about all the different parts of the service and remind them that what we're doing on Sunday morning is not just another TV show. This isn't just a YouTube that you're watching together as a family or a movie that you're streaming. This is about us, all of us as a church, gathering together to worship God. And so worship is not just sitting and observing. We're consciously participating with God's people in glorifying the Lord. Number two, set some expectations and try to eliminate distractions. And if there are things in the room that might keep your kids from worshiping God, then take those out and then tell your kids, this is what we expect you to do while we're streaming worship. Can you leave? Can you go get something to eat? What happens if you need to go potty? And so tell your kids what kind of behavior we're going to have while church is going on, and then give them lots of grace. Be careful that this is a good experience, but also you want to set some boundaries. Number three, give them something to do. I suggest that you give them something to draw, write on, crayons to color with if they're small, a pen and sermon notes if they're age 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 or older. And so give them things to look for, ask them to write things down, let them color, let them draw. I've got an adult daughter who knits while the sermon is going on, and it really helps her to focus and think about what's happening in the message. So if they can multitask, it might actually help them to listen. Number four, have them sing with you. It really will focus your worship on God if you're singing together as a family, and that means Dad, sing so he can be heard. Mom, sing. And when it comes time to prayer in the service, really pray together. And that's not always easy to do online because there's just somebody on the screen that's praying. But remember, our goal is to participate together. Number five, debrief. When the message is over after the service, spend 5 or 10 minutes going over their notes, talking about what they learned. Was there something that they were commanded to do? Was there something that they should believe? Do they have questions about the message? Did they understand what was being taught? Did they understand the songs that were being sung? Now, there are some advantages to live streaming. One, you can pause, because if something happens, if the phone rings and you get distracted, you can actually hit the pause button right during the middle of the service, during the middle of the message, and deal with those issues, and deal with discipline if you need to. Second, you can break up the message in 2 parts if that's going to be more helpful for your kids. It's really hard to do that when we're all together on Sunday morning, to take a 30-minute message and break it up into 3 parts, but it's pretty easy to do when you're streaming online. So what we're doing now, live streaming, is a great learning opportunity for all of us as families. As parents, it's a privilege to learn how to worship together. And I hope that God will use this in your lives. And join us at Graham, live streaming on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock.